What if I told you that winning the lottery 6 times had nothing to do with luck, numbers, or chance, but everything to do with a law so powerful that it never fails? Tonight, I'm not here to talk about luck. I'm here to show you how to unlock the same law that turned impossible odds into undeniable victories. Life is never a game of chance, although many live as if it were, thinking that outcomes are scattered randomly, falling into some hands while bypassing others without reason. The truth is deeper, more structured, and profoundly more empowering. Everything that takes place, whether a win, a loss, a blessing, or a delay, unfolds through law. Just as gravity operates without fail, whether one believes in it or not, so too does the law of life govern the flow of experiences, opportunities, and abundance. To look at life as a gamble is to hand over your power, to believe that you are at the mercy of unpredictable forces. But when you understand that the universe is lawful, that every thought and word plants a seed, and that every seed must produce after its kind, you begin to recognize that you are not a victim of chance, but a participant in creation itself. When I share that I won the lottery 6 times, the natural question people ask is, how? They want to believe it was luck, a rare accident, because that fits the narrative of the world. Yet luck is only a word people use to explain what they cannot yet understand. What truly happened was the outworking of divine law responding to faith, expectation, and the spoken word. The same way that a farmer knows the harvest comes not by accident, but by planting in alignment with season and soil, so too does the soul know that abundance manifests by planting the right seeds in thought and speech. If one sows fear, one reaps limitation. If one sows doubt, one reaps delay. But if one sows faith, spoken boldly and persistently, the harvest is abundance and breakthrough. Life never rolls dice. It reflects back the state of mind and heart with perfect accuracy. That is why people who live with a consciousness of scarcity find themselves surrounded by lack, while those who anchor themselves in certainty and gratitude find doors opening, often in ways that appear miraculous to others. When you see life as a game of chance, you unconsciously wait for fortune to favor you, living in passivity, hoping for something external to intervene. But when you see life as governed by law, you realize that every thought is a command, every declaration a decree, and every inner conviction a magnet that draws its equal. The wins I experienced were not random tickets pulled from a bowl of chance. They were demonstrations of alignment, outcomes that could not help but manifest because the law had to answer the vibration of my belief. This is why some people can toil endlessly without breakthrough, while another, standing in quiet confidence, sees provision flow with ease. It is not unfairness, but order. Just as the sun rises without fail, the law responds without fail to what is impressed upon it. And so, the lottery of life is not played with numbers, but with consciousness. And those who align with the law will always find themselves in the right place, at the right time, with the right outcome, because chance never existed to begin with. Winning does not belong to luck, it belongs to alignment. Many people look at success, wealth, or even a simple blessing and assume it must have been fortune smiling upon someone in a rare, mysterious moment. Yet what the world calls luck is nothing more than the visible effect of an invisible alignment between belief, spoken word, and expectation. When I held those lottery tickets, it was not about numbers or odds. It was about the inner stance I carried, the conviction that what I sought was already mine, and that the universe was simply arranging the outer pieces to match my inner decree. Alignment means living in harmony with the truth that abundance is natural and always present. Just as electricity flows when the wires are properly connected, so too does abundance flow when thought, word, and belief are joined without contradiction. If even one of these is misaligned, if thought declares wealth, words speak lack, or if affirmations are spoken but inner belief is filled with doubt, the flow is disrupted. True alignment brings a seamless channel through which blessings must pour, because there is no resistance. The reason many struggle is not because abundance is scarce, but because their inner world is divided. They may speak prosperity with their lips while secretly expecting failure in their hearts. They may pray for breakthrough while holding a quiet belief that it is out of reach. This is not alignment but conflict, and law cannot deliver clarity to a divided mind. Winning, whether in the lottery or in life, comes when thought, word, and expectation vibrate in harmony, sending out a single, unified call that the universe must answer. I won multiple times because I did not allow contradiction. I decided that wealth was my rightful inheritance. I affirmed it with my words, and I expected it with calm certainty, as though the outcome was already sealed. This was alignment, and alignment has the power to bend circumstances, reorder events, and bring into being what others call impossible. People often confuse striving with alignment. They think if they work harder, push more, or struggle longer, they will finally break through. But alignment is not about exhausting effort. It is about clarity and certainty. A person who sits still in perfect alignment can draw more abundance than one who labors without inner agreement. The law responds not to frantic activity, but to the vibration of belief. When every part of you is saying yes, when no thought of failure remains, when your words echo your belief and your belief stands unshaken, manifestation becomes inevitable. That is why winning is not luck. It is the fruit of a deeper order, a reflection of alignment that the world mislabels as chance. To the outside eye, it may look like fortune, but to the one who understands, it is simply law unfolding exactly as it must. Words carry a power so creative, so absolute, that they shape the very fabric of one's experience. Every utterance is a seed, and once spoken it cannot be recalled. It goes forth and takes root in the unseen before showing itself in the visible. People often treat words as casual, empty, or harmless, but there is no such thing as an idle word. Each statement is a decree, whether intentional or careless, and the universe answers every decree with unwavering precision. To declare, "I am always struggling," is not just a complaint. It is a command that calls struggle to remain. To speak, "Everything I touch prospers," is not mere optimism. It is a law set in motion that will gather prosperity around every action. This is why the tongue has always been described as holding the power of life and death, for it creates worlds in silence and in sound. When I won repeatedly, it was not because I was hoping for luck, but because I understood the creative power of my words. I did not say, "Maybe I will win." I said, "This is mine. This is already done." There is a vast difference between wishful speech and creative declaration. Wishful speech carries uncertainty, and uncertainty attracts delay, but creative declaration carries authority, and authority compels manifestation. Words spoken with conviction imprint themselves upon the subconscious and upon the universal mind, and both must obey. Every time I spoke over those tickets, I was not sending out empty noise. I was writing in invisible ink across the canvas of reality. The law had no choice but to make visible what I had already inscribed with my tongue. People often sabotage their own blessings because they speak against what they pray for. They ask for abundance but speak of lack. They desire love but speak loneliness. They dream of healing but rehearse their sickness. The contradiction cancels the decree, and they wonder why nothing changes. Yet when words are aligned with desire and spoken with faith, they become unstoppable. The universe is not moved by begging. It is moved by authority, and authority is established in word. To say something once with uncertainty may change little, but to say it daily, boldly, without wavering, is to engrave it into the very structure of life until it cannot be denied. Every victory I experienced flowed through the channel of spoken word. Words dressed my faith in form, gave my thoughts a voice, and sent forth instructions that could not return void. Just as a general commands an army and the soldiers move, so too do words command unseen forces and cause them to align circumstances in your favor. Nothing in my journey was accidental. It was the direct result of words spoken with conviction, words spoken as though they carried the weight of law, words spoken not as a question but as a decree, and because words carry creative power, they built the path that delivered every one of my wins. Faith is the most powerful force a person can hold because it has the ability to call forth the unseen into reality, while doubt acts as a thief that blocks the flow of what is already prepared. Doubt is subtle. It creeps in like a whisper telling you that perhaps what you desire is too much, too far, or too unlikely, and the moment you entertain it, the power of your decree begins to weaken. Faith, on the other hand, stands tall even in silence, declaring without words that what is expected must come. It is not blind hope or empty wishing, but a knowing that carries the weight of certainty. Faith says, "It is already mine," while doubt says, "What if it never comes?" And in that single difference lies the line between manifestation and delay. When I held tickets in my hand, I never allowed the voice of doubt to speak louder than my inner certainty. I treated each ticket not as a gamble, but as a symbol of a promise already fulfilled, and because I refused to entertain the thought of losing, the law had no choice but to respond with winning. Many fail not because they are unworthy of abundance, but because they give more energy to their fears than to their faith. They ask for break, through yet secretly prepare themselves for disappointment, and by doing so they invite disappointment into their experience. The law cannot deliver two opposing outcomes at once, so it mirrors the strongest vibration, and often that vibration is doubt. Faith required discipline, a steady guarding of the mind, a refusal to repeat words of defeat, and a commitment to hold the vision of success even when the outer world has not yet caught up. To the doubter, nothing seems possible because their inner eye is clouded with fear, but to the believer, everything is possible because faith sees beyond appearances. When you cultivate unwavering faith, circumstances bend themselves to your expectation. It is not that the world changes randomly, it is that the world rearranges itself around the energy you hold most consistently. Doubt sends out a signal of delay, while faith sends out a signal of immediacy. The reason my victories repeated themselves is because my faith did not waver after one win. Instead, it grew stronger. Each result confirmed the law at work, and with every confirmation, my certainty deepened. Faith compounds upon itself, becoming a tower of strength that cannot be shaken by outer appearances. Doubt, however, crumbles under the weight of a single setback. The truth is that doubt is easy because it agrees with appearances, while faith is powerful because it looks past appearances. Anyone can say, "I believe," when the evidence is already visible, but true faith believes when there is nothing to see, nothing to hold, and no sign to grasp. That kind of faith is creative, and it is the key that unlocks the impossible. This is why doubt is the only enemy of manifestation, for it shuts the door on what is already waiting. But faith flings the door wide open and commands the blessing to enter without delay. Wealth is not reserved for a chosen few, nor is it a fleeting stroke of luck that happens once in a lifetime. Wealth is a divine right, a natural inheritance available to every soul who is willing to claim it. Just as the sun shines without favoritism and the rain falls without preference, so does abundance flow without limit, waiting for each individual to recognize their oneness with it. The mistake many people make is to believe that money, success, and opportunity are scarce, that they belong only to those born into privilege or to those who manage to beat impossible odds. But this belief is rooted in illusion. The universe is infinite, and its supply is without end. Every tree bears countless leaves. Every ocean holds unmeasurable drops. Every star in the sky points to limitless creation, and yet people tell themselves that abundance is scarce. The truth is that wealth already exists in the unseen, waiting for permission to manifest in the life of anyone bold enough to claim it as their birthright. When I speak of winning the lottery multiple times, I am not pointing to favoritism or chance, but to the law that affirms every person's right to abundance. I aligned myself with this truth, and because I accepted it deeply, it showed itself outwardly. The universe does not play favorites. it responds to alignment. If one person can win, anyone can, for the source of supply is not limited to a few chosen vessels. It is open to all. To believe otherwise is to shut the door on blessings that are already assigned to you. Wealth is not outside of you. It flows through you. It is not something you must chase, but something you must recognize and welcome. The moment you accept that prosperity is your divine right, it begins to move toward you in forms you could not have planned, through opportunities, through ideas, through unexpected blessings, and yes, even through the numbers on a ticket. The tragedy is that many deny their inheritance by speaking against it. They call themselves unworthy. They say wealth is for others. They rehearse stories of lack until lack becomes their companion. But the law cannot override your own decree. If you claim limitation, limitation will be your portion, not because the universe withholds, but because you rejected what was freely offered. Claiming wealth as your divine right is not arrogance, it is alignment with truth. It is standing in agreement with the abundance that flows endlessly from the source of all creation. There is no virtue in lack, for lack is not natural. It is the result of misalignment. There is only power in acceptance, in lifting your eyes to see that supply is infinite and that you are one with that supply. Every time I affirmed wealth as mine, I was not creating it. I was acknowledging what already existed. I was stepping into the stream of abundance that flows without end, and each time that stream delivered more than I imagined, because I did not treat wealth as a rare blessing, but as a rightful inheritance. What happened for me can happen for anyone, for the divine law of abundance is impartial, unending, and always ready to fill the vessel that is open to receive. To see yourself already in possession of what you desire and to declare it as truth is the essence of manifestation. Visualization and declaration are not empty rituals. They are the creative tools through which the unseen takes shape. The mind is a workshop, and every image you hold within it is a blueprint the universe responds to. When you picture yourself prosperous, healthy, or successful, you are impressing that design upon the deeper layers of consciousness, and consciousness must reproduce what is imprinted upon it. To visualize is to prepare the ground, to declare is to plant the seed, and together they create the harvest that shows itself in physical form. The world often teaches people to wait until they see evidence before they believe, but true creation works in reverse. You must believe and see it inwardly before it can appear outwardly. When I held each ticket, I did not see numbers waiting to be drawn. I saw the outcome fulfilled. I imagined myself receiving the prize. I felt the joy of victory. I lived in the scene as if it were already real. This was not pretending, it was aligning. My words then carried that image into sound. I spoke, "This is mine, it is already done." By doing so, I was not asking or pleading. I was affirming a fact already settled in the unseen. Declaration gives voice to vision, and vision gives direction to manifestation. Without vision, words lack focus, and without words, vision lacks command. Together, they form a powerful unity that calls forth the exact outcome you hold in your inner world. The reason many people do not receive what they long for is that they see themselves without it. They imagine delay, they picture disappointment, they rehearse lack. Their inner vision contradicts their spoken desires, and so the law responds to the stronger image, which is usually the one saturated with emotion and repetition. Visualization works because the subconscious does not distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is physically experienced. When you live in the scene of your desire inwardly, the subconscious accepts it as truth and begins aligning outer circumstances to match the spoken word's strength, and this process, sending out a decree that cannot return void. Every time you declare, you are stamping your vision with authority, making it law in your personal universe. This is why it is not enough to casually hope for better things. Hope is weak without imagery, and desire is powerless without decree. To visualize with clarity and to declare with certainty is to stand in the place of creation itself, shaping reality before it takes form. When the image is fixed in your mind and the words are unshaken on your tongue, nothing can prevent the manifestation from appearing. The lottery was simply one demonstration of this principle, but the law applies to every area of life. To see yourself already having what you desire, and to declare it boldly, is to make the invisible inevitable. Consistency is the secret that turns desire into reality, because what is repeated with faith becomes imprinted on both the subconscious mind and the universal law, until the outcome cannot help but appear. Many people speak affirmations once or twice, or they try to visualize for a few days, and when nothing changes immediately, they give up and declare that the law does not work. Yet the law always works. It is their inconsistency that breaks the flow. Just as water carves stone not by a single drop, but by steady persistence, so does manifestation come not from fleeting effort, but from constant alignment. Every win I experienced was not the result of a momentary thought, but the fruit of continual affirmation and unshaken belief. I did not declare wealth one day and then speak of lack the next. I chose to stay in the vibration of certainty, to let my words, my thoughts, and my expectations remain fixed. And because I did not waver, the law had no choice but to deliver again and again. When you are consistent, you train your mind to accept abundance as natural rather than rare. Repetition dissolves resistance. A belief that once felt distant becomes familiar, and what feels familiar eventually becomes reality. The subconscious does not resist what it hears and sees daily. It accepts it as truth. That is why repeated affirmations and daily visualizations hold such great power. They build a foundation so strong that doubt can no longer take root. Consistency is not about strain or force. It is about creating harmony over time. Every day that you affirm your desire as already fulfilled, every day that you live in the vision of it, you are building momentum, and momentum is unstoppable once it reaches its peak. Many people sabotage themselves by being consistent in the wrong direction. They consistently speak of their struggles. They consistently declare what they cannot afford. They consistently imagine the worst. The law responds to this with equal precision, delivering more of the very conditions they do not want. What they call bad luck is simply the harvest of their consistent misalignment. Yet when you turn that same persistence toward faith, gratitude, and prosperity, the outcome shifts. The energy you invest consistently is the energy that multiplies. If you choose to dwell on abundance every day, even when the outer evidence has not yet appeared, you are planting a harvest that must come to pass. My repeated wins were not a coincidence. They were the demonstration of consistency in action. I understood that single affirmation may plant a seed, but many affirmations water it until it grows. A single vision may light a spark, but a consistent vision fans it into flame. Consistency creates inevitability, because the longer you hold to an inner truth, the more the outer world bends to match it. Just as the sun rises faithfully each morning, the law answers faithfully to the vibration you maintain. Everyone has a lottery, though it may not come in the form of numbered tickets or jackpots of money. For some, the lottery is health restored after years of illness. For others, it is the discovery of love that fills the heart. For many, it is the freedom to live without fear, debt, or limitation. Each person carries within them a vision of what their big win would look like, and though details differ, the principle behind receiving it remains the same. The law of manifestation does not discriminate between money, relationships, healing, or opportunity. It responds to faith, to declaration, and to the vision held consistently within the mind. What I experienced through financial abundance is no different from what another person can experience in any other area of life, because the process is universal. The same law that brought me wealth can bring another their perfect health, their soulmate, their breakthrough in career, or the peace they have been longing for. The danger lies in believing that some blessings are harder to obtain than others, as if the universe has degrees of difficulty. To heal a body, to restore a relationship, to open the doors of success, to win the lottery, all of these are equal in the eyes of divine law. It is only human reasoning that creates separation, labeling one as possible and the other as impossible. When you shift your perspective and realize that every desire is simply energy waiting to take form, you free yourself from the illusion of limitation. Your lottery, whatever it may be, already exists in the unseen. The path to it is not struggle, but alignment. To claim your lottery, you must first identify what it truly is. Too often, people chase after what they think they should want, rather than the desire that genuinely stirs their soul. The law responds most powerfully to the desires that are authentic, the ones aligned with the deepest parts of your being. Once you recognize your true lottery, steps to claim it mirror the very principles I used: visualization, affirmation, faith without doubt, and above all, persistence. When you see yourself already in possession of your desire and declare it as done, you are activating the law that cannot fail. Your lottery may arrive in ways you never imagined. It may not be through a ticket, but through a meeting, a phone call, a sudden opportunity, or even a quiet inner shift that unlocks everything you were waiting for. The form does not matter, the principle does. What matters is your readiness to receive, your willingness to hold the vision and speak the truth of it into existence. When you do, your lottery will find you, just as surely as mine found me again and again. The universe does not withhold, it delivers, according to faith, and it delivers impartially, for every person has a lottery that is waiting to be claimed. Abundance is not something that needs to be chased, forced, or demanded, because it is always flowing like a river that never runs dry. The only question is whether you have opened the gates to let it in, or built walls of resistance that keep it away. Wealth, opportunities, relationships, health, and peace are all currents of the same abundant stream, and they move freely to wherever they are welcomed. To welcome abundance is to cultivate a state of mind that expects good, to hold an inner posture of gratitude, to live as though blessings are natural rather than rare. Resistance, on the other hand, is born of fear, doubt, unworthiness, and negative speech. These act as barriers, blocking the flow and making it seem as though abundance is scarce, when in reality it is the person themselves who has closed the door. When I won repeatedly, it was not because I fought for wealth or strained to create it, but because I opened myself fully to receive it. I did not say, "I hope this works." I said, "This is already mine." That certainty cleared away resistance, and without resistance, the law could deliver easily. Many people pray for prosperity, but resist it in the same breath by saying, "I don't deserve it," or "It's too difficult." The universe is always listening, and when contradictory signals are sent, the stronger one wins. If your desire says yes, but your belief says no, the answer you experience will be no. Abundance cannot force itself where it is rejected. It waits patiently until the vessel is open. Welcoming abundance is a choice, a conscious decision to align with it every day. It means refusing to entertain thoughts of lack, refusing to repeat words of limitation, refusing to imagine scenarios of failure. Instead, it means training the mind to see provision everywhere, to declare prosperity in every situation, to expect doors to open even when they appear closed. Gratitude is one of the greatest keys, for when you give thanks for what you already have, you signal that you are ready for more. Complaining and comparing close the gates, but gratitude flings them wide open. The flow of abundance is impartial. It does not ask whether you were born rich or poor, educated or uneducated, lucky or unlucky. It only asks whether you are open or closed. An open mind filled with faith, gratitude, and expectation draws blessings in like a magnet, while a closed mind filled with doubt and fear repels them. This is why some can experience overflow while others struggle, even though the same law is available to both. The law cannot contradict your inner stance, it must reflect it perfectly. When you welcome abundance, you invite the stream of prosperity to rush into your life, filling every empty place with provision, opportunity, and joy. There comes a point when wishing and hoping must be laid aside because they carry no authority. Wishing is uncertain. It says, "I want this," but I do not know if it will come. Hoping is timid. It says, maybe one day, if I am lucky, things will change. Neither wishing nor hoping moves the law, for the universe does not respond to hesitation. It responds to certainty. The difference between those who wait for miracles and those who experience them is that the first group lingers in hope, while the second rises into declaration. Declaration is powerful because it speaks as if the thing desired is already accomplished. It does not plead, it commands. It does not wonder, it knows. When I declared my wins, I was not asking the universe for a favor. I was speaking into being what was already mine by divine right. Every word we speak carries energy, but only words spoken with conviction shape reality. To say, I wish for abundance, is to project uncertainty, and uncertainty creates delay. To say, I declare abundance is mine now, is to issue a decree that the law must fulfill. The universe is bound to answer faith-filled declarations because they are aligned with truth. When you declare something with authority, you impress it upon your subconscious mind, and the subconscious in turn impresses it upon the universal mind, creating a chain of manifestation that cannot be broken. Wishing weakens the spirit, but declaring strengthens it. Hoping leaves room for doubt, but declaring leaves no space except for fulfillment. People often confuse humility with timidity. They think it is humble to say, maybe one day, if it is meant to be, but true humility is agreeing with the truth of abundance and boldly claiming it. The universe has already provided everything. It waits only for you to step into ownership through declaration. A king does not wish for his throne, he declares his authority. A farmer does not hope the sun will rise, he knows it will and prepares his field. In the same way, you must stop hoping for blessings as if they were scarce gifts, and begin declaring them as present realities. Every blessing you desire already exists in the unseen. Your declaration is the bridge that carries it into the scene. Each time I declared a win, I was not creating something new. I was aligning with something that already existed. I gave it permission to enter my life by calling it forth with certainty. This is why the results repeated themselves. It was not luck but law, and the law is clear. What you declare with unwavering faith will manifest. The moment you stop wishing and start declaring, you step into your true creative authority. You no longer wait for miracles, you call them, and when you call them with certainty, they must appear, because the universe is compelled to obey the words spoken in faith. I did not win by luck. I won by law, the same law, available to you right now. Whatever your lottery may be, claim it, see it, declare it, and refuse to doubt. The moment you believe without wavering, your miracle will no longer be a matter of chance. It will be a matter of certainty.